G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, episode 163 in fact, and we have a lot to talk about today. The Legends game is back, so we'll be going over a little bit of news we've got so far for that. Paul Curtis's suspension, maybe one of the unluckiest players in the game. Liam Ryan just coming into calculations as one of the best recruits of the year. Of course, the preview to the new round, the fantasy recap, and of course, we have to talk about the World Cup. So let's not waste any more of your time. Let's roll the intro and get straight into it.
Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs.
He looks at his options, and Jack Ginnivan says, "Boys, you brought me to the club to do just this!"
But this guy has flog written all over him.
From attack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was.
But guys, as always, my brother is here to join me today, and it was a pretty good weekend of footy, but of course it was overshadowed by one big thing that happened on Sunday afternoon. I mean, of course, the World Cup kind of took over the headlines throughout the whole week over the weekend.
There was pretty much only football between Thursday and Saturday. No one really was bothered too much about what happened.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, the Saints GWS game was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The Tigers played well for a half. We'll get to the World Cup towards the end of the episode, though. So, football, obviously, first of all, you had the Crows and the Dogs up first. Crows just dominated. Really just, it was just a 180 contrast for the Dogs. 1 week they were, a team that beat Hawthorn. They're somewhat back. Maybe they can fight for a top 6 spot. Then they get done by 57 points at home against the Crows.
Yeah, it was basically a one-man show for the first quarter, and they said they were going to put a plan in, but I don't know what Matt Kennedy was kind of doing.
3 goals, 13 disposals from the captain and Jordan Dawson. A couple of back-to-back BOG performances. He's starting to just set himself now. It's like putting himself as like one of the better players in the competition. It's starting I think it's probably the Victorian basis that you don't get noticed unless you are absolutely starring.
Yeah,
we've seen that Isaac Heaney,
Zach Butters,
Jordan Dawson's now joining that conversation.
Yeah.
And it feels like even Zach Butters, to an extent, it's really taken until he's come down to contract for them to start talking about him a bit more. But yeah, star of the show. They get back Isaac Rankin this week. Do you give Adelaide a sneaky chance of a top 4 finish now?
I do. I think they're. I think the other underlying player that they're sort of talking about, but is Riley Philthorpe. I think is that he looked a lot better after the suspension he had, the bye. He looks a lot better, and he nearly won the. He was on track to win the Coleman last year on some level.
So a very poor start to the year.
Yeah, so I think the injury time off that he's had early in the season was much needed, and he's a 2 or 3 goal game player, and at home he can kick it at 4 to 5 on average, really, if he's firing. So they could go top 4, really.
If they can get some players, Isaac Rankin probably needs to be there for them to do that and for them to challenge.
Yeah, I think so, because even though the Dogs say they try to tag Dawson, is that if it's no Rankin there, you can't really rely on Dawson to play multiple different roles on the field like he can. So yeah, I think Rankin needs to come back in and be able to play midfield minutes.
Yeah, I think that's where the Crows can. He definitely separates them from a mid-table team to a high mid-table team to a top 4 and potentially a contender, Isaac Rankin. So if he comes most likely coming back this week. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Crows can go from here. They showed last year they were a bit of a second half season of the team before the finals. So yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting to see how they go now. Then you've got, of course, Geelong and the Gold Coast. I don't think you read much into this for the Cats, if I'm being honest. I mean,
no, they
win down at home. We know this,
and they just made the gimmick of white out. I mean, they had to win that one, because if they didn't, they kind of couldn't. You couldn't do it again. You couldn't really do it again. But they did what they had to do. They did what they always do, and they beat a team that they beat every time the Gold Coast decided to come down the highway.
Well, we'll talk about the Gold Coast a little bit later, but yeah, pretty disappointing from them once again. Interesting decision that they went to Mullen went to Petrarca rather than going to Anderson.
but I loved it. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, with the fantasy stuff. But, yeah, Matt Rowell looked a bit better. Bailey Humphrey, probably the big one. It's pretty harsh to go and say that he's playing poorly to deliberately get to another team, but I can see why the rumor would sit there for a moment.
Oh yeah, the role he's playing doesn't really suit him either. But
yeah,
you know,
he's had a very poor couple of weeks. Saturday afternoon we had. God, I can't even remember.
It was
Essendon and Melbourne,
yeah.
of course. Melbourne. I mean, it was just a Cozzy Pickett masterclass. Wasn't
it was kind of the Cozzy show that we wanted to see and gather around, but we didn't really get to see in this matchup. But the D's, they make the MCG the fortress that they need to.
I mean, let's be honest though. I mean, it was Essendon. Can you believe now that they've gone from the talk about the circus around James Hird being the next coach? Seems like that's kind of cooled off that rumour, and now there's potential that Dean Solomon is the guy. The guy who, I mean, no offense, I mean, it's not his fault really. Like, he's got nothing to work with a lot of the time. But why are Essendon like so afraid of looking outside of their club? Like, I mean, honestly, there's been 20 years of just nothing. Well, why would you want to go? Why do they keep on dipping into that well?
Well, they're saying that they're going to start doing the structure and the process, seeing what the process is going to be like over their bye. And they're saying that, you know, if Dean Solomon's the man, he has to win 4 to 5 games. If they win 5 games to finish the season, I'll give you $1,000 straight off. I'll give you $1,000 because I'm that convinced. If they win 5 more games to finish with 6 wins, I'll give you $1,000 because there's no way in hell that team, especially after they just lose Roberts for
I'm not giving
a
you
month.
$1,000.
Oh no, because I wouldn't expect you to, because there's no way they do it.
All right. Well, all right. We'll put that on there now. We'll bag it a deal. I'm becoming an Essendon fan for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah.
So I can't see them winning 5 more games, but I also think it's very interesting. There was talk on radio. I think it was 3AW or something. I saw the clip. I'm not listening to that, obviously, but there was talk that potentially Essendon would sign him sooner rather than later, so that they don't get the backlash at the end of the season if they were to go without a win for the rest of the year. That they would just sign him now, so then they don't get the backlash of signing him after a winless season under him.
I don't get it. It's like, if every single Essendon fan wanted you to jump off a bridge, they'd do it. Yeah. Just because if they don't want to go against the Essendon mantra, or the Essendon boys and boys club, or whatever they want to claim it to be. It's not gonna. Nothing's changed in the last 25 years. It doesn't mean bringing another Essendon person is going to bring that, because the winning culture they have is not there.
Yeah, it needs to change the culture around the club of, you know, not just being happy with mediocrity. You can understand why Zach Merritt wants to leave.
Yes, and the sad reality of it is that if they're going to keep doing this, you know, the same thing, all the actual good players that are going to get big offers, and they're going to just leave.
Yeah, well, we've heard Jordan Ridley, Zach Merritt looking that they will probably look to leave at the end of the season once again. Darcy Parish has been mentioned as well. I wouldn't be too surprised, and honestly, I think that's probably not a bad idea. Not obviously, I've had my fair share of criticism of Darcy Parish over the years, or especially over this year. Remember at the start of the season, I said he wasn't in their best 23. People were outraged by it, and he had he had an okay start to the year, but then he had a very poor a couple of moments before. I think he had a good game, like in round 9 or something.
Didn't he win one of the medals this season?
Did he win he didn't win the Anzac medal.
No, he won one of them though, didn't he? He won some medal.
He won the Indigenous game. Yeah, the Dreamtime.
Yeah, the Dreamtime game. Yeah. So you know,
even though he didn't even deserve it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's a lot of issues around Essendon. They seem that they're looking at Dean Solomon now as the head coach. I mean, when a couple of weeks ago when people were saying that Essendon are making they're making a big mistake, like not even opening up the process to other coaching chances because James Hird was going to get the job. There is absolutely no person as an assistant that's going to put their hand up and go for the head job at Essendon just because of the optics of how they've set this up, because it was all James Hird originally. Now it's Dean Solomon. I mean, pretty much, it seems like that's probably their 2-horse race right now. And why would you even put yourself through the process of going for that job if you know it's already taken?
Exactly, especially when you've already got you've already got another option in Carlton.
who have shown something in the last 4 weeks. Well, 5 weeks or so. And there could well be other jobs out there. You know, the Western Bulldogs, even though they have been up and down this year, I don't really know what they're going to do with that. He probably is looking elsewhere. Luke Beveridge, Alistair Clarkson with North Melbourne. I don't think he's gone by any means, but there is an option. There is an opportunity, you know, could be there at some point soon enough. Even Ross Lyon, again, he's not going to get sacked, but there are other jobs out there that could potentially be, you know, freed up in the next 12 to 18 months. So I would understand that. I mean, people say, "Oh, well, why are these assistant coaches like not going for these jobs?" It's like if you had a job, like if you had an interview, or you looked on, you know, just like a regular person looking on Tik.com, would you send your resume to some workplace that they basically, if they wrote in their cover letter, whatever they want to write, saying this job has already got 2 people up for the job, but sending your resume anyway, would you even bother?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no point to bother. Why would you? Why would you put yourself through that process? So, I mean, I think Essendon, the ideal situation would be for them to look for an experienced head coach, I think.
Yeah.
And then I believe probably go down the route of an assistant, similar to what West Coast did with Andrew McWalter or Richmond with Adam Uze. But it seems like they're staunch on the fact that they want to pick someone that's homegrown or someone that's, you know, from their backyard. And I don't... It's unfortunate for Dean Solomon because he's not going to get his credentials heightened by this. There'll be a lot of criticism if they do sign him as the head coach unless things improve on the field. I don't really see it's a good case scenario for anyone.
I think also the fact is that it doesn't look. It's not a great look to anyone on the outside with him being previously on the board of Essendon to be his Brad Scott's a senior assistant to taking it over and then being the head coach. It kind of seems like, as some people have described it, as an inside job to get rid of Scott and, you know, appoint a Essendon figure.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand why people would believe that, and I mean, I would be interested to know some Essendon fans' perspective. You obviously see the headlines and the videos and stuff of people like saying give James Hird the job and all that sort of stuff, but I can't believe that is every single Essendon fan. I would like to believe that there are
with the amount of members and supporters they have, it can't be everyone's perspective. Their prerogative to give it to Hird or Solomon. Yeah,
I would be interested. I mean, I feel like if I guess I'm very privileged that I barracked for the Sydney Swans my whole life, and that we've been very successful in my lifetime. So I don't have the perspective of being down in the dumps for so many years. I mean, you did to an extent, but
we still do.
You were from what 2014 onward to 2024, basically 10 whole years of like at least you were up and about. You were a chance. I mean, imagine being a team that has not even won a final. So, or Carlton, for example, haven't won a premiership in 30 odd years. So, and also the clubs that we barrack for, they aren't big clubs they aren't the biggest clubs in the league like Carlton and Essendon are.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go. I think I've said it pretty adamantly that I think that John Longmire should be the ideal option for the Bombers multiple times, but it just doesn't seem that he's even been mentioned in the conversation unless it's like on Fox Footy when they interview John Longmire and he says, "Oh, you know, maybe I would be open to coaching again." It seems like that's the only time it's ever been mentioned. It's not. I mean, if we're hearing so many different stories that Dean Solomon's already the guy, or James Hird's already the guy, or he's got endorsements from Andrew Welsh, or you know, Kevin Sheedy wants this guy to be the coach. It's like, how are you not looking for the best coach at the moment? You should be looking for the best coach out there. Like Ken Hinkley, I'm not saying that he wants to go join Essendon by any means, but there's definitely something there that he wants to coach again. Even though I've actually loved listening to him in commentary this year when I have been able to. But I think there's definitely a want for him for himself to go back to coaching.
Yeah.
Surely you look at that option. I mean, even though Ken Hinkley never won a premiership or got to a grand final, at least he won a couple of finals. I think Essendon fans would be begging just for a win at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Who do you think? Like, if you had an ideal situation, like you had to pick of the bunch of the coaches right now out there, what would you pick?
Are they still employed, or are they all like?
I mean,
so we're looking at it looking at every coach that's employed at the moment, or are we looking at ones that are on the market? On the market, I'd say John Longmire. Yeah. I think he's had the culture of the Swans and all that. He's built he can talk to the players, like, you know, he can build those relationships with the players. He's got that as well. He knows football and he knows all that, and you know, someone who's only just got out of the game, so he's not like he's a complete like different game style to what he wasn't used to. Yeah. So
I tend to agree. I think that, you know, there probably are other assistants out there, but they're not even being mentioned because Essendon seem adamant they want to pick out of these two.
Yeah.
But yeah, then what was it, Saturday Twilight, the cellar dwellers in North Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles. North Melbourne, you know, they bounce back, they get a win against the West Coast. Fucking Jake Waterman, man. We were actually at the Swan Sport game, obviously. We're sitting in the crowd just waiting for the game to start, checking the scores. Jake Waterman marks 30 out, straight in front. I'm like, oh, yes, they're going to win this game. And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, he doesn't kick straight in these situations. You're like, oh, he's going to fucking miss, isn't he? And he fucking drilled it straight into the left goalpost. And, it was fucking ropeable. I was like, I mean, I tipped that one, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding.
Jake Waterman's, I think, he's had the most shots at goal all season.
Yeah, he'd definitely be up there.
Yeah, I think he was, and it's like I think the 2 previous years he was going at like 70% shooting. This year he's less than 50%. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, there were a lot of opportunities for the Eagles to win the game as well. North Melbourne, on the other hand, they get back on the winners list. I mean, it's hard to read where the Roos are at. Like, you see them win these sort of games, and you see them win like games this season, and you're like, maybe there's something that could change. But then they get done by the Dockers by 126 points. And look, I wasn't expecting them to win that, but then they get done by that much. You don't get done by over 100 points if you're a serious team to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
So my perspective on North Melbourne hasn't really changed. Like, I mean, yes, they won against West Coast, whoop-de-doo. Yeah, it doesn't really... And they got Richmond this week.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know which North Melbourne's going to show up.
Yeah, exactly. My perspective of North Melbourne's been pretty harsh for most of this year. Like yours has been with Darcy Parish and that. But, yeah, they got the money. They got the WA money that they wanted. They got at least 4 points this time. Yep. So, you know, they got one win, which is what they expected.
50 against Fremantle, I think there'd be a different perspective on North Melbourne's, you know... their deal going to Perth. Then, of course, we get to the Boundary Riders Cup. Port Adelaide v the Swans. Honestly, I think I know Port Adelaide have lost a lot of close games this year, but if I was a Port fan right now, I'd be pretty impressed by how they've done, considering I think there probably would have been a lot of people at the start of the season thinking this team is going to be a bottom 4 team and they have to go through a rebuild. And maybe that still is the case, but... It's very similar even though Josh Carr isn't exactly Ken Hinkley, he's getting out the best of what he's got in his disposal, in my eyes.
At the moment, he is, and with he's, if we win all 5 of those games, we're in the top. I think we're in the top 6. So we'll be batting above our average. So we are probably where we are, where you're playing against a strong Sydney side who have been, premiership contenders at the moment, and we were competitive for the entire game. We're in front for most of the game as well. We missed some really gettable opportunities, which probably caused us to, have a bit of not a lot of confidence, and probably ended us costing the game. So next year or the next couple of years, they would be maybe reversed those results. So you live and you learn from those ones. But for the 5th time this season, under 3 points, it does kind of suck.
It does kind of suck. I agree. As a Swan watching it, I was very disappointed by the first half. We did not play well at all. But again, we found a way to win, and it's something that Sydney, I think, have struggled to do in the past, that if we get beaten with the plan A, that we have no plan B.
Yeah.
And it is good to see that, the Sydney are, finding a way to win. But also, as well, the injuries that the Swans have got is not what a lot of other clubs have at the moment. Like, they're missing Tom Papley, Errol Gordon, Dane Rampy. There'd be many. Tom McCartan obviously missed last week.
Melican
missed as well.
Campbell.
Yeah, Braden Campbell.
McInerney.
McInerney. I mean, you've read the list better than me, apparently. But these players are all in their... Oh, maybe not Braden Campbell, but the rest of them are all in their best 23. And the Swans have just basically had the mantra of next man up. And Joel Hamling on the weekend has been... we were sitting there talking about it, that he's been playing VFL this year in the forward line. And the times that he's come into the AFL side, he's played in defence. And like he had some big moments in that game against Port Adelaide. Had some big moments. And, he was matched up... with a defensive duo of him and Will Edwards, who had some really good moments against Mitch Georgiades, kept him relatively quiet for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And then also Jai Sarong played in defence, so that showed the versatility that he has, of course, playing on the wing for a lot of this season. And then went back as, he wasn't a key back, but he definitely played the majority of the game at the defensive half of the ground. So... yeah. Now, on the coaches' votes, I can't believe it. And I love Isaac Heaney, but how the hell did he get 10?
He wasn't that dominant, was he?
I mean, I don't think he deserved 10. I thought that Joe Richards was one of the better players on the ground. I think Sydney's best player was Callum Mills. I think he had some really big moments in that game. And the fact that Jordan Sweet didn't get a vote and Brody Grundy did, I'm sorry, but Jordan Sweet dominated that ruck matchup for 3 quarters. Brody Grundy came into it in the final quarter. I think he was the better ruckman in the 4th term. But Jordan Sweet dominated that game. And it was tough to watch as a Swans supporter in that midfield. Because Port Adelaide dominated it, especially for the first half. But anyway, I guess on Brownlow night we'll see what happens. Isaac Heaney could very well be leading the Brownlow race at this moment in time.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing I got on him at $34 when he's now $5.50 for the Brownlow.
You got him at $34.
Uh-huh.
How much you put on that?
Oh, I put on a couple. I think I put $5 or $6 on it. $5 to $10 on it.
Well, hopefully it doesn't get suspended like in 2024.
Yeah.
Then we had the Tigers and Brisbane down in Tassie. Not much of a story here. I mean, people were just getting ready for the World Cup game. Richmond fought well in the first half. Brisbane got the win. Will Ashcroft had a generational performance. 38 touches, 2 goals, 3. Don't really read into that, do we?
No, not really. He's played his one good game against one of the shittiest teams of the season. It's like maybe get back into form, but he's going into the bye, so it's like maybe we'll see after they come out of it. But they did what they had to do, Brisbane.
Yeah, and then finally St Kilda and the GWS Giants. St Kilda this week they did everything they were threatening to steal defeat from the jaws of victory, but they did enough. They held on against GWS and. I can't see both of them making the top 10 or the top 10.
No, I think it's...
So it's going to be one of them. And I think St Kilda kind of split away a little bit there.
Yeah, it's just... I think all these, these injuries that the Giants have had all season, they're coming slowly into the team. I think they've made their run too late, to be honest. That they could have a run, but they just have these games like these. This is one that they should have won, and they needed to. They've got Carlton this week. The Giants, and it's like the way Carlton are going, you never know which way it's going to go now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think honestly, like you said, the Giants are starting to get some players back, but St Kilda are as well. And Nasai Wanganeen-Miller after the injury, and had a good start to the year, but it wasn't as what we were expecting. I think we were expecting a bit more, but the last few weeks, he's definitely proven, somewhat of the reason why he's getting that big payday from the Saints.
Yeah,
and then of course that's pretty much the round that was really. We obviously then, next up we have the Legends game that's announced today. The coaches, Kane Corns, which was weird, and Joel Selwood.
Yeah, it kind of seems a bit odd. Do you think both of them could, even to be honest, both of them could actually probably play in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised by it. Then they got announced the captains. So Brendan Favola, I'm still surprised he can even walk half the time, but anyway. And Shane Crawford. So he was the coach last time, wasn't he?
Yes.
Now he's going to play.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a guess.
He'll play like maybe 5% of the game.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him playing much. I mean, isn't Kane Corns is surely younger than him? So
yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what was weird.
They're around the same age. Yeah,
I think what's going to happen is Kane Corns will come onto the game at some point and will be like a funny joke or whatever. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. But of course, the big news, were the two stars that were named from respective sides for the All Stars. Surioli does return, and Dustin Martin has been announced for the Big V. So Dusty Martin returns to the field. We haven't seen him since 2024 was he when he retired? He's played a couple of local games. I think he played down in Tassie a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do like to see that. And we saw the popularity of the All-Star game last year.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was driven by, I would honestly say, Dan Gorringe and more. I mean, there were a couple of big players that were named in it, which was good to see. But I think it was almost like the influencer push for it, made it a lot more popular. You saw a couple of some of them, and I think Dan Gorringe said last year it would be his last time he played.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he will be in it this time, which will be interesting to see if it's as popular as it was last year.
Yeah, it would be, because, I think a lot of, he cleaned out 3 bays last year at Marvel, so it was a lot of support for just one person influencer in a way. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what sort of reception, popularity it is this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think they saw the success that it was with the influencer feedback, and I mean, Dan Gorringe is probably the biggest out of anyone, I would probably say, in the AFL space now. So I mean, you've obviously got a lot of players now are moving into that sort of space, like with podcasting. You saw Tom Mitchell move into it now.
So he'll probably, I reckon he might get a go.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get a go. A lot of other players are doing the same thing now, so I wouldn't be too surprised if a lot of influencers are named this time to try and push it a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously it's a great thing to have I think I'm not sure when they actually are scheduling the game. I think it's in July. I'm pretty sure when the game is on. It says, it's in August. So I think it's actually in the bye between the footy and the last round in the finals. I'm pretty sure August 27. That sounds like fun. Yeah,
so I think it's around the wild card round.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it will be pretty big. I'm shocked that Brendan Favola's been named to play. I'm surprised he can even move. But anyway, that's big news. And now, of course, we move to our fan favourite segment, Rate It or Hate It. Now, when the Legends game was announced, behind closed doors, Kane Corns and Joel Selwood were actually arguing about what their favourite part of the segment is. I'm personally a fan of when we have the arguments about it. They're arguing who loved it more. And it was like 2 children fighting over their love for their mother. Guys, we have plenty of love for everyone. All right, so Kane and Joel can just take a step back. It's all good. But don't worry, we've got Rate It or Hate It back this week. So, first question for Rate It or Hate It. Paul Curtis is the unluckiest player in the AFL.
You're going to have to rate it for the last 2 seasons. He's done a perfect tackle in a way, don't you? I mean, he's just got himself in the wrong position, really, and it's caused, especially in this one, it's like he couldn't do anything to possibly.
As soon as it happened as well in the game, that was mentioned on the commentary, this happened to him last year, and it was just he got, he kind of was set as an example of, really.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, he tackled a player who has had concussion problems in the past. And with the West Coast Eagles, I believe his name is Hamish Davis, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So he's dealt with a lot of concussion in his AFL career. And unfortunately, you just got the guy who's had the problems. And it was a pretty good tackle, but he locked both arms. Is that the kind of extent that we're looking at here? That he slammed his head into the ground? And
I think I think it was that, and the fact is that when he did the tackle, he's brought his legs from under him, and he's not or maybe slightly airborne. So it's kind of so his head's the thing that's can hit the ground first. That's what happened. So
I mean, even David King, who's been big on it, concussion and head contact for a long time. Even he was even though I know he's a North Melbourne man, he even said, it's a contact sport and this sort of stuff happens. And literally that's the case in my eyes. Did you think it deserved 3 weeks?
No.
Did you believe it deserved anything?
I don't. I think the one last week deserved. There was more case of last week being something for Billy Frampton than this week.
Yeah, if he's wearing a black and white jumper, does he get away with it? I think it's an interesting conversation to have. But yeah, I think they are appealing at North Melbourne. So we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. So I'm assuming it would be going tonight to the tribunal.
Yeah, since North Melbourne's already had their bye, they're not going to schedule it for later in the week. So it would have to be tonight.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that, surely they give it back. They round it down and just let him off. With the precedent that was left with Billy Frampton,
yeah,
I think they would give it. I think they get him off.
Yeah,
I would say. Next question for Rate It or Hate It: the Gold Coast Suns will miss finals.
I rate it actually because I think I was telling you earlier in the week how their schedule is the run home. They have got a horrible schedule on the run home, and
I really believe they only win one game.
So the Gold Coast on the way home, they've got Hawthorn this week at home, Fremantle, Collingwood, the Crows, the Dogs, Carlton, Melbourne, GWS, Brisbane, and the Saints. So I'm assuming are you giving them a win against the Pies?
To be honest, the only one I think they could, it's either that or Carlton. To be honest, you know.
So you don't think they beat the Giants away from home, St Kilda at Marvel? Well, they don't win at Marvel.
No, they could possibly beat Melbourne because it's not in Melbourne. But you know, they've got maybe 3 more chances at a win, and they'd have to win. Oh, they'd have to win 4. They'd have to win 4. They'd probably have to win half the games that they win.
So they've currently got 7 wins this season. I would say you probably need 11 or 12 to make a wild card. So
yeah.
They probably have to win at least 4, if not 5.
Yeah, and that's So they have to win those 3 games that I mentioned, plus probably 2 more.
To make it into the top 10 last year, you had to win 12 games with the Swans.
And everyone said that was over. That was overs for it.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe 11 would get the Gold Coast in there. But I think that I don't exactly rate it. I would honestly say hate it because I think they have enough that they win a lot of these games. Like, I don't think they win the next 2 weeks, but Collingwood, the Dogs, Melbourne at home, and then Brisbane away. So they have, interestingly enough, they don't have the most amount of home games left in the season. They've only got Collingwood, Dogs, and Melbourne at home for the rest of the year. Other than the game against Hawthorn this week. So I would honestly put them down for those 3 wins.
Yeah, I don't. The way they're playing at the moment, and all this, you know, everyone leaving or the
mass exodus.
The mass exodus again. I think there's a lot of stuff that they're some of them are playing for contracts, they're not really playing for the team, and I don't think that. Yeah, I just think they're going to really struggle.
Well, so if they win 3 more games, let's just say they win those games at home, because I think they lose against Hawthorn this week. That means they sit on 40 points. That's not going to get them even a wild card spot, I don't think.
No.
So that's gonna. It's interesting if they beat Hawthorn this week, probably all those.
Oh yeah, 100%. If they beat Gold Coast, if they beat Hawthorn, a lot of this pressure comes off them.
Now, on the mass exits of players, we've heard news from Bailey Humphrey, Jed Walter, Charlie Ballard, and Ben King,
and Jake Rogers,
and Jake Rogers as well. But I think the other 4 are the big 4. Really, they've all been in their team. Yeah. Jake Rogers obviously has the talent, but hasn't been able to get games. So out of those, let's go with the 5. So first of all, on Ben King, where do we think he's going to be at the end of the season? Do we think he's going to be... where do we think he's going to be in 2027? Do you think... Because, I mean, there's been a lot of talk that he was going to stay at the Suns and that he's going to sign a 2-year deal.
I think he still stays because... Yeah, I think he still stays.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the Gold Coast will somehow lock him back in, that he doesn't go. But I believe that because of that, Jed Walter goes.
Yeah, Jed Walter will end up going.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of big Victorian clubs looking at him, along with the West Coast Eagles. Collingwood probably offers the most amount of money. We've obviously heard news that Lachie Neale's getting offered upwards of $3 million for 3 years to go to the Pies. Can you believe that Fremantle were talking about bringing in Lachie Neale? I couldn't believe that. I was like, I understand that he's a great player and stuff, but they've already got such a great team. I didn't really think Lachie Neale was he makes it in their best team, obviously, but I think you honestly just go with what they've got at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bailey Humphrey. I think this is a very interesting one because the Gold Coast for a long time have been very adamant that he's staying his contract.
The thing is that if the other 2 go in Walter and King, he stays for his contract. If one of them goes, it depends on what they can get for him. But he's playing so badly at the moment. To be honest, he will go. I think Bailey Humphrey will do anything to get out of there. The way I'm hearing about it is that he's going to do. He's going to do absolutely anything to get out.
Well, there's been talk that Melbourne are obviously one of the front runners with Hawthorn. Melbourne have a couple of first round picks. I believe it's pick 10 and pick 15 at the moment. Does that get it done?
Probably.
I'd probably agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look, so what the plan would be that the Gold Coast would then use that to try and sign ready-made players, because I think obviously the draft They don't need any more draft players.
Yeah, they don't need any academy players at the moment. Or
I mean, if they have academy, obviously they'll pick them, but I don't really think there's that many at the moment. I think they've kind of picked them in the last few drafts.
yeah,
Jed Walter, because of his potential, he probably comes in for a couple of draft picks as well, I would say.
he'd be close to 2 first rounders as well. That's what they'll ask for him.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about right, just on potential as well. So they get in 4, let's say they get rid of both of them, they get 4 first round draft picks. I think with that, they can definitely go and get a big player.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they haven't really been linked to anyone. I think they probably need... It's interesting because you look at their list and you're like, what do they really need? Maybe a ruckman, but even then, like Ned Moyle's, like, I think, very capable.
Yeah.
You've got good key forwards. You've got... I mean, that's obviously if Ben King does stay. Their defence is still one of the best in the competition. They have great running halfbacks. Maybe a wingman. Like, I mean, honestly, like, what would they need? I don't really think they need it. They need to change their... It's almost like there's a bit of an arrogance around them at the moment. Like, they just think they're going to roll up and win.
Yeah, like even the small forwards, half forwards are still pretty capable. It's just very, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, like, what do they need? They've got so much talent there. It's just the fact is that they're not gelling and they're just... In a way, yeah, as you said, a bit of arrogance about it. Is it?
Yeah, so they're just going to roll up and win every week, and they're not really there to get their hands dirty. Which I think maybe Matt Rowell. There is a bit of Matt Rowell factor that he just hasn't been able to get going this year since the injury that he had in Origin, and he's just nowhere near that Brownlow form that he had last year. So maybe that is a factor. So we're saying Humphrey probably on the way out, Welter on the way out, King likely to stay, Charlie Ballard
Gone.
You think he's gone?
I think the offers that he'll get at the moment, when there's not a lot of defenders.
Are you surprised that Port Adelaide aren't in this conversation? He's an SA boy.
Yeah, I am.
Port Adelaide desperately need a key defender to help out with Alir and Radicalier.
Yeah, I think if you have both of them, and you can help develop Harrison Ram, I think you kind of need to look at it. And when you're going to lose Butters, sadly,
You giving up now?
I've kind of got to. I kind of have. I think it would be he'd only sign a small term deal to stay at Port, which I don't think he's going to. The amount of money he's already getting offered.
Yeah.
I think he knows that I think he's a player that will try his hardest to get what's good for what's best for Port Adelaide as well.
Yeah.
He seems like that sort of a player. But Port needs to look at what they need. It's like, yes, we need some defenders. We need we need another defender. We need Alir to play the intercept game that he plays so well. And when you've got Ram basically he played his second game on the weekend,
To be fair, he performed quite well.
Yeah, but you can't rely on that every week for him to play at that level again. But so you need some experience down back with that. So I don't know why we haven't. If there's no rumours that we're not looking at him, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it seems like Port Adelaide, the only rumour they've really been linked to right now is Tom Sparrow. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, they do need midfield help, but I think they've been crying out for a defender for so long. Like we saw Brendan Zerk-Thatcher, Radicalier, but they've never really been like anything that really turns the needle the other way.
Well, he couldn't. He was getting games at Essendon, and he can't even get a game for Port. Zerk-Thatcher, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm shocked that he's not being linked. But you think Charlie Ballard's on the way out as well?
Yeah.
So that's 3 on the way out, 1 that stays. Jake Rogers, the last one you mentioned.
I think he's going. Like, he's not even getting a game. Yeah. He's hardly getting a game. And they've got so many midfielders, so he's not going to get the midfield time that I think he wants.
Yeah. I mean, he probably wants... I mean, his body is not big enough to play midfield yet. Which means it probably goes to I wouldn't say a Minnows Victorian club, but probably a club that will offer him a little bit more on the base potential. Yeah, he hasn't really shown a lot at AFL level. I think probably the best game he had was when he got a Rising Star nomination a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was against the Swans actually when he had that game. That's kind of all we've seen from him at AFL level for Jake Rogers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with you. Maybe I think there is an opportunity there that Rogers that may stay just because there is if Bailey Humphrey goes out, there's a spot there maybe for him to get into. And Charlie Ballard, I honestly think he could stay as well, but I think that you're right on Bailey Humphrey, and I think Jed Walter's definitely out the door. If it's either going to be Ben King or Walter who goes, depending on if King, it's on King's decision.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the Suns, it's hard to really read. If they miss finals this year, it would be disastrous. They were expected to be up there as a premiership contender.
And after they won against Geelong in the first week, people were convinced that they're finals bound, like they're grand finalists.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's... I'm more on the side if they can still... They will make finals. I still think they will. I think they have enough talent there that they just can't miss. But they've got they haven't got a very good run home.
No, and from last year having the easiest schedule in the game to one of the hardest this season and a hard run home, I don't know if they can.
And final question for Rate It or Hate It this week is something that's been brought up over basically the last fortnight is Liam Ryan is one of the top 3 recruits from last year's off season.
The last 2 weeks say yes, but no, I don't think he might be one of the top 3. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. I'd say hate it. I don't think he's played 2 good weeks. He's played capable in a lot of games, but you know, I think there's been a few others that have really. He'd be probably top 5. I'd say that top 5.
Okay. Now we'll cut this up into a clip. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the biggest overreaction I've fucking seen this season. He's kicked 22 goals, 11 in the last 2 weeks.
God, has he? I thought he's kicked more than that.
He's kicked 22 goals. He's had.
All right, maybe not then.
He's had 9 games of football this year. He's had a very good couple of weeks, and I think he's probably been. He's jumped Tom de Koning in the better recruits this year, but that's it.
Yeah,
If we're going purely on the numbers, now, on the numbers, we're talking about, like, as a forward, right? So, kicking goals is the main point. He's averaged 2.4 goals a game this year, which is very good for a small forward, don't get me wrong. Charlie Curnow's been raked through the coals every single week for not having enough impact. Charlie Curnow has averaged more goals than him this year.
Yeah, and isn't he 3rd in the Coleman?
He's 3rd in the Coleman. Now, obviously, it's different. He's a small forward compared to a tall forward. And to an extent, St Kilda got him on the cheap because he wasn't that expensive to get from the Eagles. But look, some players that we've got this year that have been recruited: Christian Petrarca to the Gold Coast, Clayton Oliver to the Giants, Jai Sarong to the Swans, Jack Silvani for the Saints. Will Hayward's shown some good signs for Carlton in times. Jack Steele has had moments for Melbourne. I'd probably go right now, honestly. Clayton Oliver would be up there as one of the better.
I'd say, to be honest, I'd still say Petrarca. I think he's done enough. I think, yes, he missed a few games, but I think he's had the majority of the better games out of anybody. I think
the best players, he's been up there most weeks.
I'd still say Petrarca's top. Oliver's close. Jai Sarong, I think, is in. You'd say he's nearly 2nd based on what they got him for in the last couple of weeks. He's done. Jack Silvani's probably been the best one for the Saints.
I'd agree.
Because, you know, even a couple of weeks ago when he was swung forward, he was the only one who was capable of scoring a goal.
I'd probably go with the St Kilda's recruits. I'd probably go Jack Silvani.
I'll go
Ryan. I'll go Ryan in 2nd because even though Sam Flanders is injured,
by the end of the year he'd be probably 2nd because Flanders would. But yeah, Tom de Koning, I'm still. I don't care what his last 3 weeks have been like. I don't care how many score involvements he's had on average. He has played a horrible season. He's played he's like the same thing you just brought up about Liam Ryan. He's played 3 good games against teams. Against the Giants? Well, everyone says that Kieran Briggs is shit house with these new rules. What was the week before?
It was Brody Grundy.
Brody Grundy, yeah, okay, 1 good game.
But even then, he played well forward.
Yeah. And maybe the week before he was playing all right, but you know he's played.
And also, he's getting paid a stack of money as a ruckman, by the way.
Yeah, he's
playing as his 3rd tall forward.
Yeah.
So I think he's still the worst recruit of the year, probably out of anyone, really.
Yeah, because
unless there's anyone who's got injured.
You know, even some people like even Corey Durden, his average goal, he's had a goal every game he's played this season. Joe Richards. No, that was the week before. Sorry, that was the week before. But yeah, Corey Durden kicking goal every game.
I honestly I think he deserves some flowers. I think that he deserves some praise. Corey Durden. He's kicked a goal a game every game this year. Only a handful of players have done that this season.
Yeah.
I think he'd be up there as like a top 5 recruit this season.
It's just the fact is he doesn't have those big games. It's like, well, at the end of the day, as a small forward, you don't need to. You have to have
you show pressure and kick a few goals. You don't have to kick 11 goals in 2 weeks. It's great to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure he would be like, I wish I had Liam Ryan numbers of the last fortnight, but he's done his role, and I mean, Port Adelaide would be definitely happy with it. I mean, they're struggling to look for another forward over Mitch Georgiades this year. Now, you do look at it, and I'm trying to find Corey Durden. He's got 20 goals this year, so he is under Liam Ryan numbers. But 2 weeks ago, he's higher than Liam Ryan.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, I just think that's Liam Ryan being a top 3 recruit, which has been a talking point it's been one of the talking points this week. It's utterly ridiculous that he is up there as a top 3 recruit. If I'm going right now, I'm probably going Christian Petrarca, number 1. I know this is biased, but I would put Jai Sarong at number 2.
I'd say Clayton Oliver based on how they ended at Melbourne. To see him flourish as he is, I'd say that him and, probably... I'd actually say Silvani. I think Silvani's very much an underrated player in the top 5. Jai Sarong 4. I think they're your 4. Liam Ryan.
I'd put Charlie Curnow in the top 5.
Yeah, and then maybe...
He's third in the Coleman
yeah,
right now.
and Charlie Curnow. And, probably they're your 5. I'd say Corey Durden's close to it. Jack Steele as well. Jack Steele's probably...
Well that Melbourne needed as like an experienced midfielder.
Yeah. Me saying top 5 before is very wrong. I think there's other players that I realised that have been better than him. Even Laverde for the Giants has been better.
Incredibly underrated.
Yeah,
he came in basically as like, we're going to put you in the VFL and we need you, and you're coming when we need you, and they needed him straight away, and he's performed outstandingly.
Yeah, so I think Liam Ryan may struggle to get the top 10, to be honest.
But if he continues on this form and he can get to if he can get 40 goals this year, damn right I'll talk about it. But we're not talking about it right now.
He needs 18 more goals to even have that, and
he may well do that. I mean, there's 9 games to go, I think, for the rest of the season.
And the fact is, he's not, as everyone knows, that St Kilda aren't leaving Melbourne all year, so there's a chance he can have those games.
Yeah, but not right now. I'm not giving him the top 3 status or top 5 status right now. So, guys, let's move on from Rate It or Hate It. Oh my God, that clip is going to get so much hate from St Kilda fans. I mean, we gave some praise to Jack Silvani.
From the 13,000 that showed up on the less than 5,000 that showed up in Marvel on Sunday?
Yeah, exactly. Those 5,000 diehard fans. But anyway, maybe like that to the end of it too. Let's get to the preview to the new round, of course, guys. Round 15 coming up. Big round coming up as well. A couple of real top of the table clashes, so let's get straight into it.
And of course, we're up to round 15 now. Another 4 teams have the bye this week. It is the Lions, the Bombers, the Swans, and the West Coast Eagles. But of course, there are 7 games going on across the weekend, and the 4 big matchups we'll be covering in today's video, of course. And we start with the Thursday night game between 2 of the top teams in the competition. It is Fremantle up against Geelong. Now, the Dockers, of course, coming off the bye, but before that point, have obviously been the team to beat right now. Only 1 loss to Geelong way back in round 1. And Geelong, of course, are coming off a good win against the Gold Coast Suns, but really nothing that impressive. I mean, it's a win against the Gold Coast, who have been a pretty poor team the last 3 or 4 weeks, but still a very good win from the Cats nonetheless down at home. Now, the Dockers will be looking to get a lot back this week. Brennan Cox and Johnson could return after missing out against North Melbourne, and Caleb Sarong would be the big inclusion after missing over a month now through injury. Now, on Geelong's point of view, Jack Bowes could return after being a late out last week against the Suns, while the Cats could also see the return of Tom Stewart and Brian Myers, much-needed players for them. Now, the Cats are coming off a 6-day break, while the Dockers are coming off a 12-day break, so that may play into Fremantle's favour going into this week. But in the recent record between these two sides, it reads Geelong's way. They've won their last 3 encounters against the Dockers. However, 2 of those 3 games came down at the Cattery, so that does obviously play a lot more into Geelong's favour. For now, let's get to my tip. It is tough, of course, with Geelong being a very good side and aren't the worst travelling team out in the competition, but you can't go against Fremantle right now. They are absolutely red hot. Maybe they'll come off a bit sluggish coming out of the bye, but they are the team to beat right now, Fremantle, and I expect them to continue on their great form. So even though I think Geelong have a bit of a chance here, Fremantle pretty much look full strength as well on the injury front, so I have to go with the Dockers in this game. Up next on Friday night, we have the Gold Coast Suns up against Hawthorn. The Suns are in an awful form slump right now, having lost their last 3 games, and look all at sea, while the Hawks are coming off their bye. But before that point, had a bad loss against the Dogs, have been a bit up and down so far this year. When they look at their best, Hawthorn, they look like one of the teams to beat, like a premiership contender, but when they lose, a lot of their flaws get exposed. Now, the Suns could have a lot of players return this week, with Powell, Weller and Graham all coming out of their last matchup against Geelong, so they well could return, along with Ethan Reid, who has been scheduled to return for the last few weeks. It's like a 1 to 3 week injury, but hasn't really returned yet. Now, they've got a couple of players in the reserves as well, but it would be interesting to see if an Ethan Reid does come in, which player is dropped. You've got Jed Walter, Ben King. Ned Moyle has been picked as the number 1 ruck the last few weeks, which means that Jared Witts has been sitting on the emergency list. He's been a bit in and out. Wouldn't be too surprised if the Gold Coast go back to what they know, maybe go to a Jared Witts this week, a little bit more experience. But right now, the Suns aren't really looking the best side at all. Well, on Hawthorn's point of view, I think they're going to be looking for Jack Gunston this week. After having 2 weeks off, I think he should be good to go. And Tom Barrass should be all right to go as well after missing the best part of a month with a hamstring strain. Now, the Gold Coast have won 3 of their last 4 encounters against the Hawks. However, these teams, when they met a few months ago down in Tassie, it was Hawthorn who won comfortably by 49 points. But now let's get to our tip for this game. And with the game being at the Gold Coast venue, they've only lost once there this year, which was against the Brisbane Lions only a few weeks ago. It does make me think there is a chance that the Gold Coast can win this. But I think Hawthorn off the break, getting back Jack Gunston and Tom Barrass most likely. Have to pick Hawthorn here. The Gold Coast look all at sea, and I think Ben Dixon put it best when he said with the Gold Coast next month, they could well be dropping out of the 10. They've already dropped outside the top 8 right now, so they're sitting in a pretty precarious position on the ladder, the Gold Coast, and right now I think Hawthorn are looking a lot better of these two sides, so I'm going to be picking Hawthorn in a close one. Up next, we move to Saturday afternoon. It is the Crows up against the Melbourne Demons. The Crows are coming off a statement win against the Bulldogs last week and are returning to some of the form that we saw from last year. The Crows have been improving much, have shown a lot of improvement over the last couple of months, while Melbourne have had a comfortable win against Essendon last week and had a good win a couple of weeks ago against the Pies. Now, the Crows will get back Taylor Walker this week after suspension, while they should also see the return of Isaac Rankin, which is much needed for them, and potentially Mitch Hinge, who's been injury-prone throughout this season so far. Now, Melbourne will have to make a few forced changes from last week's lineup, with Harry Petty going out with injury, as well as the debutant in Cook. So Changwath Jath was an emergency in the last game, so he probably comes in. Will be interesting to see what the Ds also do at selection for this matchup. Now, surprisingly enough, these games have actually been relatively close in recent encounters. With the last 3 meetings between these two sides, the margin hasn't exceeded over 15 points. So even though this is at Adelaide Oval, Melbourne don't really face too many fears against Adelaide playing at Adelaide Oval. Other teams like the Bombers, a little bit of a different story. But the last time these two teams met, Adelaide did win the game by 13 points. But for now, let's get to my tip for this one. And because this is at the Adelaide Oval, I am going to be picking the Crows. This is a very interesting matchup. At the moment, these two teams are probably fighting out for a top 4 spot. And whoever wins this game probably jumps in there going at the end of this round. So a big matchup. I don't think many people expected Melbourne to be this high up. But I am going to be picking Adelaide. I think they have a little bit too much quality around the ground. And unless Cozzy Pickett can produce an absolute specialty with Max Gawn, then I really can't see Melbourne winning this game. I don't think their forward line has enough to beat Adelaide's potent forward line, so I think the Crows get this one done. And then to the final big matchup of the round, we've got GWS up against Carlton. Now, both of these teams have come into a bit of form over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Before the game against St Kilda, GWS won their last 2 encounters, and 3 of their last 4, however, was a rough loss against the Saints last week. Really needed to get that win, as now they've dropped outside the 10 in the ladder. So they've dropped outside those wildcard spots and leave them in a pretty precarious position for the rest of the year. The Giants need to get this win against the Blues. While on Carlton's point of view, have not lost a game in the Josh Fraser era. He is the saviour, of course, if you listen to Dan Gorringe enough. Before the bye, they've won their last 4 games in a row and have really good momentum going into the second half of the year. Now, the Blues will be hoping for the return of Jacob Wettering this week. Hopefully, he is good to go, and Ollie Hollands is also set to return. While in the recent encounters between these two sides, it seems that GWS have got the chocolates over Carlton, winning 3 of their last 4 encounters against them. Can't see both of these teams making a wild card spot, so pretty much an 8-point game, this one. But for now, moving into my tip, and this is honestly 50-50. It's in Sydney, which probably helps the Giants. However, I'm actually going to be picking Carlton in this game as a bit of a roughie. The Blues have been in really good form. Maybe coming off the bye, it kind of hampers their really good momentum, obviously winning their last 4 games. However, GWS they're starting to change a little bit. Like they've had a really good win against Brisbane a couple of weeks ago, but that loss against St Kilda last week, they started to get their better players back and they still couldn't find a way to win. I don't know about GWS right now. If I'm picking between these two teams and on recent form, I trust Carlton slightly more, so that's why I'm going to go with the Blues this week, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people picking the Giants. Now, before we get to our full tips for this one, of course, we have to get to the biggest matchup over this weekend, which is the Socceroos up against the USA. I mean, I can't believe I didn't mention it last week, guys, in the tips. That is absolutely terrible from me, but I'm picking the Socceroos for a 3-0 win. After the win against Turkey in the first group stage matchup, winning 2-0, I mean, USA are worse than Turkey, so I'm expecting Australia 3-0 win. 2 goals to Nestori Kunda. I'm expecting Mo Torre to get his first goal of the World Cup. So 3-0 win against the US. I'm pretty happy with that. But for now, guys, let's get to our full tips for round 15. My tips are Fremantle to beat Geelong, Hawthorn to beat the Gold Coast, the Crows to beat Melbourne, Carlton to beat GWS, Collingwood to beat Port Adelaide, North Melbourne to beat Richmond, the Dogs to beat St Kilda, and then the Socceroos to beat the USA. And my brother's full tips for round 15 are Fremantle to beat Geelong, Hawthorn to beat the Gold Coast, the Crows to beat Melbourne, GWS to beat Carlton, Collingwood to beat Port Adelaide, North Melbourne to beat Richmond, and the Dogs to beat the Saints. So now, guys, of course, we get to our AFL fantasy wrap-up from last round. Of course, the trades we'll get to as well. So, first of all, on the round that was, I thought I had a better week than I actually did in the end. I had a very good start. Jordan Dawson just absolutely blitzed the beginning of the round. But in the end, I only ended up with 1,854, which was ranked for the round 29,000. My rank has dropped to 9,701. Now, on the team itself, a lot of positives, I thought. I guess the problem is there's a lot of highs, but there's also a lot of lows. Lockie Ash, 113. Lockie Whitfield, first game for me. I had to bring him in. That was a late trade that I did for Josh Dacos. He got 115. Wayne Miller, I got to 96 in the end, which I will take. Jordan Dawson, of course, with the 156. And then obviously doubling that with the vice captaincy, he got 312. Butters and Bailey Smith both with plus 100 scores. And Bontempelli with a 99. I mean, it's okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a shout out to Mitch Edwards. 67 doesn't sound like great, but that's the best score he's had all year, so I'm going to take that. Harry Shees with the 129, Cozzy Pickett with the 135. So overall, pretty happy with that. Now, the issues on the negatives were there was a lot of low scores. Archie Roberts, unfortunate, got injured. He only got 44. Rechko, I did have in the team, 55. Tanner Bruin just doesn't like footy anymore. He got 45 in the end. Christian Petrarca with the 70. He did get tagged, but you can do better than that, mate. Lift your game. And it's hard to give him too much. It's hard to put too much shade on Murdoch, but 42, unfortunate. Needs to do better than that. But and that's pretty much my team. Is unfortunate, but the lower scores kind of did lower my overall score in the end. But let's move to your team because I think for the first time in about a month or so, you actually beat me.
Yes, I did. I got a 1925, which was ranked 15, just over 15,000, which was actually impressive, to be honest. I actually thought it was actually a worse week than I thought.
What's your overall rank then at the moment?
Overall rank is 15,000.
Okay, so you're still 6,000. So
yeah,
just to put that out there, guys.
Just to need the brag.
Yeah, just to brag a little bit.
Yeah, let's get to my players. You did mention Lockie Ash, but I did like his score first week into my team, which was nice. Sinclair 95, really, he normally plays better at Marvel, so I'll take the score based on my week. Who else did we have? Oh yeah, Noah Anderson. I did mention it earlier. He did get 133, which was really nice. Yeah, Brodie Grundy getting 97. I'll take it since he's had such a poor season, really.
Yeah. Wait. Poor season.
Poor season in my team so far. I mean, I will give Jasper Alger. I brought him in this week as a downgrade, and I had to put him in obviously this week. And he got 75 with 4 goals.
4 goals for the Tigers. Yeah, he did pretty well.
That was actually really nice. But let's get to some other negatives that I had in my team. Bailey Dale 69. Like, I don't know what you're doing. You love playing Marvel. He loves playing at Marvel. Jaden Short played horribly, really. He played one of his worst games this season. Finn Callahan brought him in this week, 82, not good enough. Jack Steele, 77. He hasn't had 100 since round 5.
Jeez, hasn't
Yeah, I know. I looked at it because I was really just trying to look for it. And I had and with the Roberts injury, I luckily had Bowie on my bench to cover it.
And you had Bowie on the bench
because I was going to loop in him based on how he's going to go for the game before the West Coast game because I have Josh Lindsay as well. So I had both of them scores to cover it really, but it's because Bowie actually saved me as well because of the Roberts injury.
All right, so Jake Bowie finally got into a bit of form.
Yeah, I had Hawker Hahn on my bench, which was annoying because I had Bruin in my team.
Yeah,
that's what really. I contemplated all Thursday night. I was like, oh no, after the game, I was like, oh, do I take his score or not? No. Yeah, no, I'll just leave it. Surely he can score better than 75 Bruin. 45, and I was like, you fucking prick. Yeah. Even Sam Cumming did better than that. I got him for 60. Yeah. On the way. Yeah, which really fucked me off.
So let's move to our trades before we start ditching phones. Over the week, I have gone with 1 downgrade and then 2 changes based on, 1 upgrade and 1 injury change. So I've gone with Rechko out for Fitzgerald, Archie Roberts out for John Noble, and Milan Murdoch out for Brent Daniels. Now, Rechko obviously out because he's priced out at this point. He's done really well. I kind of wanted to keep him for one more next week because there's a couple of players out through their buys, a lot of players out in the round 16 buy, but I had to do it for Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
brilliant
I think
performance in his debut. 26 disposals, 3 tackles, 3 marks. Take that.
Yeah, I think you had to because next week he's got such a low break even.
I think it's minus 12.
It's minus 12, and if he gets 70 odd, he's going up about 65k, 70k. So by next week he'll be over 350, 360. So if you can't pay that, you might as well take the bullet now and then wait, and then sadly track him through the buys. Really.
Yeah. So obviously Archie Roberts had to go after his injury. He's going to be out for I think the majority of the season.
Yeah.
I had a choice between Noble. There was a couple of defenders I could have chosen from, but Noble was the best option in my eyes. With the Gold Coast Suns not having a bye, obviously, and looks like he's in very good form. John Noble, obviously, probably nearly an All-Australian form, or at least squad worthy. If Zach Merritt was a defender, I probably would go for him. Jack Sinclair was another option along with Max Holmes, but unfortunately both of them have the bye. So I was like, I'll go with John Noble. He is highly priced, but I feel like that's safe enough. And Milan Murdoch, obviously, huge applause for him. Well done for him for a whole season. Came in as an SSP signing and averaged, I think, around 80. So you take that. But I've gone with Brent Daniels, which could surprise a few. I originally had this trade as Isaac Rankin, but I want to see him for a week or two on return. I think he comes back this week, Rankin, but I don't trust a straight return. Watch him get 150 this week, and I'll be fucking pissed. But Brent Daniels has actually gone into the midfield for the Giants, and I've really liked his role the last few weeks. He's got plus 100 scores in 2 of his last 3 games, and it's a bit of a punt. Like, it's maybe a wrong call, but at his price at 742, has a pretty nice break even right now. I'm pretty safe to say that he's going to do okay. He's got 106, 80, and 101 in his last 3 games. I'm pretty happy with him bringing him into the team. With no bye, he's got Carlton, Hawthorn, Freo, and Geelong. So Brent Daniels isn't going to get tagged. That's going to go to Finn Callahan. I'm pretty happy with that pick. Going into the midfield, Brent Daniels, they like to use him as well. I would have rather go with Isaac Rankin. That would have been my number 1 priority, but I'm happy with Brent Daniels as that choice right now. So let's move to your trades and we'll talk about our future plans for the team for the upcoming weeks.
Yep. So I got rid of Josh Lindsay. He did his job. I got Fitzgerald. I got rid of Milan Murdoch, and I got Jordan DeGoey, and I got McInerney, and I got rid of him, and I got Jason Horn-Francis.
Okay, so 2 of them are players already in my team, so I appreciate you trying to bring it. But no wonder you beat me last week. You just started to copy my team again.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to know the forward line since there's no good forwards at the moment. Yeah. Besides everyone that's got them all. So, you're kind of just trying to pick out of a hat, to be honest, at the moment.
I think everyone has Harry Shees or Christian Petrarca, Cozzy Pickett, and then at this point now people are trying to bring in DeGoey and Horn-Francis.
Yeah, and then it's Rankin or Brett Daniels as you have or something like that.
Sam Durham's probably another one, but with his bye this week, a lot of people won't go to him. But I think next week probably some people will. especially with Archie Roberts' injury going out of that midfield. I think now it's going to move to Sam Durham.
Yeah.
In my eyes. So that's your trades. Now let's move to a couple of plans for the future weeks. Now I'm actually pretty happy with the players that I've got in reserves. Hall Kahan, he's going to start going up in price. He's already at 308, got 75 last week. Herbert, who played his first game for the West Coast Eagles as a mid-season draftee, scored 61 on debut, so I was pretty happy with that. Fitzgerald now is my other midfield reserve. He's at 277 already. We know he's going to be at nearly 350 by next week, even if he scores, I think, like 60 or something. I got in Cook last week. Now, got injured in his debut, so I was really annoyed by that. But it sounds like Melbourne are pretty happy with how he's playing, and if he gets more game time when he comes back from injury, I haven't heard too much of the extent of his injury at this stage, but I'm happy with a couple of the reserves. I think there's still some cash generators there. I still have Leo Lombard. I've been looking to get rid of him every now and then, but I think at the moment I can hold him to at least the end of the buys just because of the extra score. He was on a very good first half and then just did nothing in the second half. So I was really disappointed with a 51, but I mean, I'm going to take it. And then Mitch Edwards, he's probably going to go next week. So I've got some more cash generators. I've got 259 remaining in the salary with one more 3-week trade, a 3-player trade next week. There's my team right now. I'm pretty happy with it. Like, defense is pretty solid. Everyone's like a made player now. Midfield got Tanner Bruin and Willem Dersma as the two that probably need to go. But Tanner Bruin's going first next week with the bye for the Cats. Lockie McAndrew, I've said a couple of times, I'm going to wait for the buys to finish and then he will go. And the forward line's set now. Unless Isaac Rankin comes into some form and then he's probably going to go. He'll probably come in for someone. But pretty happy with my team. Sheasel is my captain this week against the Tigers. Has a very good record against Richmond. So I'm happy with that. And Richmond are a pretty easy team to score against. But of course, the vice captaincy is going on Jordan Dawson. He's in hot form. There's a couple of other options there, like Dacos against Port Adelaide. I don't mind. Bontempelli against St Kilda, probably not with Windhager. Butters against Collingwood. There's been talk that Perryman goes to him. Jackson had a very good game against Geelong in round 1. But I'm pretty happy with vice captaincy on Dawson and captain on Sheasel. What are we looking at for you for the next couple of weeks?
So I do have some cash generation at the moment. I still have Sam Cumming, which I'm probably looking likely to get rid of. I've all got Archie Roberts, obviously still with the injury. I will probably get rid of him next week because I want to do something that I'm not going to discuss yet because I want to see next week. You've got players like Alga, who obviously has a really low break even now after his score. Tanner Bruin will be going next week as much as Jack Steele, probably after his bye. And yeah, then just some other players. I've got who is it? Yeah, Hall Kahan. I think he's going to generate money. And Fitzgerald. There's some obviously all these mid-season draft picks are also coming in at the moment. So you got to look at you're looking at them. Artemis, I think, is a very low downgrade at 230, obviously, and I think he played his first VFL game on the weekend, which is probably with them going into the bye is maybe a good option to pick up straight after the bye.
Yeah.
To downgrade that one. Besides from that, I've went this week with Lockie Ash against Carlton, VC, and the captaincy I've went on Sheasel as well because of the Richmond trade. But yeah, I'm liking my team. I think it's pretty much set now that there will not be any rookies on my team once the buys are done and dusted, which is what I really wanted. So yeah.
So before we move to finally let's talk about the leagues for the channel for AFL Fantasy. Jumped up into 6th spot in the head-to-head league. I think this is the highest I've been all year. On the overall standings, I have dropped down to 5th though. So that's unfortunate for me. I've been sitting around 3rd for a lot of this season, but dropped down to 5th after a poor week. But in the head-to-head league, which is all that matters, I'm in 6th. Now you are in 11th spot. Did you won against the bottom team last week?
Yeah, I won against the bottom team last week, yeah.
And on the overall ladder for the head-to-head league, you're in 7th. So you're starting to catch up a little bit, but overall...
I think if looking at it, I probably have run my a little too late because there's a lot of players... I'm 2 games behind, really. Because there's so many teams on 7 wins at the moment.
Yeah, 7 wins. It's a bit tough to get up there. But... overall, in the overall league, overall head-to-head ladder, in the head-to-head league, Oliver Stinks is on top. But I didn't realise, butter my buns, if you look at him on the overall ladder, he is nearly 600 points in front of 2nd spot. in the overall ladder. So he is absolutely dominating this league. Unfortunately, he dropped a couple of games early. So that's why he's actually in second spot. But he is definitely a team to beat. My butters, my buns. Now, finally, so actually this week I play Crips Don't Lie, who's in 15th spot. So I pretty much win that game. Let's move to the Open League. At the moment, Butters, my buns, who we just mentioned in the head-to-head league, has jumped into top spot on the Open League as well. So he could be in the running to win. Well, I think we had one voucher for the head-to-head league for the AFL shop, and then one for the Open League. He could go and win both of them. He's in good form right now. He is in top spot and in front by nearly 200 points over second spot. So that's a pretty good lead. Jumped right up. What did he get over the week? That's a very good score. He got 2,082. So he got actually in the round, he ranked at round 346.
Fuck.
And he's overall ranked this whole year, according to this anyway, 237. Oh, a bit of a ringer. Buddy, someone's put him in the league to just win the whole thing, have they? Jesus Christ. Now, I'm in 17th spot in the overall league, dropped down from 16th last week, and you
31.
are 31st. So you're still inside the top 50. That's the main thing. We can still be seen. But Butters, my buns, is the clubhouse leader and a very good spot right now. I mean, we're banking... We want someone like from our league, obviously, our community, guys, taking our advice to take the whole thing out. With the Hilux. Is it the Hilux? I think
they'll still win the Hilux, I think.
I think it's the
Unless if you're related to anybody in the AFL space.
Yeah, that was ridiculous that Brody Grundy's brother or whatever it was. That's stupid. But anyway, that's pretty much all we've got for AFL Fantasy, guys. That's pretty much all we've got for the footy this week. But of course, we have to talk about the World Cup. We've been talking about it a bit on the channel, on the podcast this year, or the last couple of weeks. And before we get to, we'll talk about our tips as well for the next round of games, but we've got to talk about the Socceroos. Now, did you see any of the game?
Yeah, I had it. Hopefully no one at work's watching this because I watched the game while I was working. while working in the kitchen. I was technically
Just
working.
don't mention where you work.
Yeah, I was just technically doing it, working. But it was so good, being at work. And mine was a bit delayed on my phone compared to outside where everyone else was watching it, obviously. And you just, as the doors open at one point, as staff were coming through, and you just hear this huge roar. Like, it was like, it felt like there's just the atmosphere, the electric atmosphere you had when we scored the first goal. It was amazing.
Now, we talked about this last week. I said to you, Nestory Kunda has to start.
Yeah.
It didn't do much in the first few minutes, but when he got on that ball, you kind of watch it and you're like, we've got someone here. We've got this kid. He's 20 years of age. He absolutely skinned those defenders of Turkey.
Yeah.
And fucking drilled it into the bottom corner. We haven't seen a player like this in a very long time. Probably in our generation, of watching. I can't remember back in 2006 when we had the generation, the golden generation of Harry Kewell and Tim Cahill at his best and all those players. This is probably a team that you're really excited about.
Yeah.
Couple of really interesting selection choices that honestly could have just had... we saw Tunisia's coach get sacked after his first game. I think this was yesterday. Very well, Popovich could have been walking home early from the World Cup if these selection changes didn't go right.
He was gambling a lot on the selection table.
He picked, obviously, Jackson Irvine wasn't in the team. Picked Ocon, which is actually the son of the assistant coach of the Socceroos. Played extremely well. We also, of course, the big one had to be Matt Ryan out of the team for Patrick Beach. And this one was a very big call. When I messaged you the teams, I was like, hang on a minute, this could just be AI. I've got to wait and see if this is actually true. And that call was made. It was a shock. Looks very shaky early on. Was very nervous, as you would be. But made some really crucial saves.
Oh, yeah. Some of them were just amazing. Like the full stretch one where he gets the fingertips off it and hits the post and goes out. It's like he made the right call, Popovich. He made the right call.
Yeah. But I mean, do you really think that Matt Ryan isn't making those saves? That's kind of my feeling on it. Obviously, Patrick Beach deserves so much credit for his efforts, but I feel like Matt Ryan would have been able to do that. I feel like there had to be a reason for it.
Yeah, because he's done those sort of saves in the past, in World Cups, in other tournaments.
So yeah. But overall, an amazing performance. I didn't see us winning this game. I thought at best we'd get a draw.
Yeah.
And then, try to get points against USA and then go for the win against Paraguay. But it's pretty much changed the entire perception of what we can do now.
Yeah.
Before I was like, we could probably get to the knockout stage of the round of 32 and we'd be, maybe around a 16. But now, we obviously want to beat the US next game. 4:30 on a Saturday morning. I think you mentioned it to me in messages. It maybe will be the most televised sporting event in Australia in Australian history.
Yeah, I think it will be like the Sunday game against Turkey was a televised big televised game because it was in a perfect time slot for us. But this game against the US is at 5:00 Eastern time, and it's early in the morning, but it still will be watched by
because I think this is the game that any sort of Australian, even people who weren't really going to follow the World Cup from that first game, they saw the atmosphere and what it did, those goals and what that performance did to the whole country that were watching it. And I think that's going to bring, and then people are going to start to see, it's been all over my feed, everything to do with the USA, regarding how cocky they've been and how they're starting to draw it back. I love that too. They're like,
Yeah,
I know it's a different guy, but he's like, I've never thought it was going to be an easy game against Australia. It's like, really, because a lot of your co-workers think it was going to be a fucking layup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And obviously Turkey, a lot of the comments made by a couple of their players, Con Hodoglu, I think he's the captain of Turkey, saying, we're going to dominate. And look, to be honest, they kind of did on possession.
Yeah, and then
but they didn't even. Other than that shot you said with Patrick Beach that looked like it was going to go in, they never really looked like scoring. They were pot shotting from fucking 30 yards out, and obviously the defense of Australia was fucking enormous. Harry Sutar doesn't play any league ball. He's just ready for a World Cup. Just comes out of the wilderness and he's like, put me in, boys. I'm ready to play.
Yeah. You remember me, the 6'8" fucking defender or whatever, however tall he is.
Yeah. They were brilliant. And Cam Burgess was picked. That was another selection as well. Hetherington was obviously the young defender for Brisbane Roar, who has been
the prodigy.
The prodigy has been linked to teams like Barcelona. And he wasn't picked, which was a bit surprising, but I didn't mind it because we only had one player, I think, in the whole squad, in the whole 11 that actually played in the World Cup before. But they went with experience with Cam Burgess because he's a bit older, but they went with more youth up the ground, which I don't mind because I think you need that sort of solidarity in defence, especially with Patrick Beach being the head. The goalkeeper, you need to have the surety in those back areas, and they did that really well.
Yeah.
The fact that Metcalf and Italiano were on the wings as well, they ran all day. The fact that they played that game all the way out, or Metcalf did, and kicked that goal as well. But the fact that those guys were able to run from back to forth very well, and then you had Jordy Boss, who absolutely fucking broke the ankles of that Turkish forward. Fucking amazing. It honestly, it makes you just love the fucking country. I was like, I'm so proud to be an Australian today because the whole world were watching us just fucking
shove it up
their asses and say, hang on a minute, we've shown before that we are a country in World Cups that outperform our value or our the names on the list. Most times, especially the last couple of World Cups.
You don't underestimate us because that's the thing that fires us up.
Exactly. And then we saw all the stuff from Turkey. Arda Güler saying we're going to dominate in the sheds, and all the Australians are sitting there probably like, bro, shut your mouth. All right, you can sit there because you're from Real Madrid, you little fucker. But hang on a minute, we got some fucking moments here, and he was fucking. He had a good game. He's probably one of Turkish's best players, but also he's the one pot shotting from fucking 30 yards out, missing wide. So he was the one, and I just thought it was an amazing performance from the Socceroos. We'll get to the tips in a moment with the game against the USA, but you couldn't have been prouder of the guys that were out there representing the green and gold.
Oh no, you had to. Just an amazing performance when, as you said, we didn't, we just had to get off to a good start, and we've got off to the best start that we could.
Yeah, I mean, we said that if they can get to, if it's going to be all important from that first game for Australia last week, and now we've set ourselves up for not only a good run, but we can, if we can do something with the USA, we can almost top the group.
which would be fucking insane. No one would have ever said that. We've never done that before.
No, yeah.
And we've got some great players. Even we've got depth now too. Like Volpato did not play a minute in that game. Hetherington didn't either. Matt Ryan didn't obviously play a minute. There's some excitement still around the team. And Yengi, who came on for Mo Toure, who played really well, he showed some good signs too. He's a fucking giant, that guy too.
Yeah.
So that could really help in like cross. I mean, we've got to fix our corners up too. There were a couple of
there was a couple of set pieces that were pretty bad, which we are very good at with a player like Suter up front.
We are probably missing Riley McGree with those.
Yeah.
Anyway, there still are a couple more games to go, of course, from the first week, the first round. Couple of results from today, though. The first time ever in the World Cup that we've had all games be a draw.
For 68 years it is.
Yeah, it was a shock. It was shocking. Like, Belgium and Egypt ran out a 1-1 draw, which was, I think very good for Egypt. I honestly think I probably should have won this game. Saudi Arabia, a very good result for them against Uruguay, getting a 1-1 draw. New Zealand and Iran, you've been sung a bit of praises for New Zealand going into the tournament. Got a draw against Iran, which is probably the easiest team they had in their group.
Yeah, which is not what they probably wanted, New Zealand, but yeah.
I mean, but honestly, they've got a couple of really good players. Chris Wood, obviously, the veteran there, and Just, who kicked both their goals. They could do something. Yeah. And I don't mind how they played this game. And of course, we have to get to the biggest result of this match day.
I think it's probably the biggest result so far in the whole World Cup.
I would say, yeah. It's kind of overshadowed Australia, which is really disappointing, to be honest. Cape Verde getting a draw against Spain. Absolutely outstanding. No one saw this coming. Cape Verde, I think they've got the second lowest population out of any team in the World Cup. With
Caracau, yeah.
Yeah, who actually scored a goal against Germany. We made it 1-1. That fucking shocked me, and then Germany just said, "Boys, fucking get out."
No, we're not going to do a Spain. We'll actually, we'll just kick a few more goals.
Now, Argentina in the last World Cup lost their first game against Saudi Arabia,
and then I went on a generational run.
But of course, Australia could have knocked them out. We were close. Right? That goal goes in that last few moments of that game. Maybe we knock them out, but Spain, I think they'll be fine. But that was like everyone was banking them for 3 points here. So that's very disappointing for them. But very well done to Cape Verde. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
It was, like you said, probably the biggest result ever in World Cup history. But let's move to the second round of the group stage. We'll go through our tips for it. So we start off with Czechia against South Africa.
Czechia, easily.
You think so? Easy?
I think it'll be an easier result. I don't think South Africa are going to do much.
Okay. I'm going to go with a draw, but I don't mind that call. Switzerland up against Bosnia. Now, Switzerland had a pretty disappointing first game against Qatar. Bosnia actually showed some decent signs in their game against Canada.
I'm more closer to a draw, probably, as well.
Yeah, I'd probably sit on a draw for that one. Canada up against Qatar. Now, Canada
I think
got their first ever point in the World Cup in that game, by the way.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's in Canada, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be a bit cooler.
Probably, yeah. I think Canada might get their first point. Might get their first win of a World Cup.
Mexico up against South Korea. This is a big game.
I'm leaning towards a draw.
You are?
I just don't think South Korea can get all 3 points, and Mexico
I'm
might
towards Mexico, to be honest. I think at home they showed the atmosphere that was there for that opening game against South Africa was insane. I'm going to be leaning towards Mexico. Then we get to the big one: the US up against Australia. This definitely shows this website that it is Australian based because it's again Australia 78%, USA 12%. USA won 4-1 against Paraguay. Absolutely smashed them in the first half. They were 3-0 up before the game was basically done. This is being played at Lumen Field.
Seattle.
This is in Seattle. 4:30 a.m. here in South Australia. I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah, I think we've done enough to just draw that game. Like, just get 4 points, because you only need 4 to get through.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've already got a goal. If we can draw that, we've already got a goal difference of +2.
Yeah.
So, in our last game against Paraguay, that's what we could do. I mean, obviously, the USA go in as favourites, and I don't think anyone would be shocked if they go and beat us. But right now, I also think as well with Australia, do people get that shocked if we beat the USA? Probably to an extent, but I think with the Turkey win, everyone's kind of like, oh, okay, they're on our radar now.
Yeah.
Scotland up against Morocco. So Morocco, even though they didn't win against Brazil, they showed some really good signs in that opening match day. Scotland, they won against Haiti 1-0.
Yeah, it's a team that was supposed that they should win against. It's probably Morocco.
I would go Morocco. Brazil against Haiti. Now, do we see an opportunity here that they do a Spain here, Brazil? Because they didn't look that good in their opening game.
And didn't Neymar get injured?
I don't think he played much.
Ah.
Now, this isn't the Brazil of old. This isn't the Ronaldinho, the big players. They've still got some great players, but it's not the Brazil of old.
They're gonna win. They're not. There can't be like two big results like that.
Yeah. Turkey and Paraguay. Both teams lost in their opening match day. Turkey obviously went in incredibly cocky and then lost. And then Paraguay, on the other hand, I think a lot of people were... I was a little bit shocked. I thought for sure they would actually give USA a bit of a run for their money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Turkey. I think they respond.
Yeah, I think they've been brought back to earth.
Yeah, I think in my eyes. Netherlands up against Sweden. Now, Sweden kind of shocked, I think, the whole World Cup with that win against Tunisia. I thought they were going to win, but 5-1 kind of shocked me. Alexander Isak, he decided, look, maybe I should actually do some training. And he scored. Netherlands got a draw in their opening game. Obviously, it's a defensive juggernaut against an offensive juggernaut. I kind of lean towards the defense of the Netherlands.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Germany up against the Ivory Coast or the Côte d'Ivoire. Very good game from them against Ecuador in their opening game. Germany obviously smashed Caracas, which, I mean, was inevitable, really. I don't mind an African nation here. I'm actually going to go down for a draw. A bit of a surprising one.
I'd probably lean towards Germany, but yeah.
Yeah. Ecuador up against Caracas. Again, Ecuador, despite the loss, they were in that game against Ivory Coast. They had a couple of big opportunities, wasted a few. I'm going to go with Ecuador. Yeah, kind of do that there. Tunisia up against Japan. Now, Japan had a really, I think, were very good in their opening game. Who'd they play again? They just played, and I just forgot who they played, and we just saw it too. Christ. So they obviously drew 2-2 to the Netherlands, and they had some big moments.
I said they were dark horse, didn't I?
Yeah, I didn't mind that call either. They beat Tunisia.
Tunisia looked horrible.
They're probably
in their
probably
first game.
down there with Caracas right now. They're probably down there with them, and I mean, at least with Caracas, like they've got no one expected them to do anything. Like it's just amazing to watch them, and if they can get a draw in any game, that would be amazing for them.
Yeah.
So Japan are picking there. Spain up against Saudi Arabia. Now, surely Spain get on the board here.
You'd have to think so, wouldn't you? They can't go. Saudi Arabia did pretty well in the first game, but surely they can't repeat it again.
Yeah, I mean, surely they win that. Belgium up against Iran. Now, Belgium, I thought were pretty disappointing against Egypt. And I think Egypt really showed some signs.
And Belgium's not really been known for performing in these sort of tournaments. I would go with a draw. Because I really don't think that Belgium are going well at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the same. Now, Uruguay up against Cape Verde. Now, I found this very disrespectful to Cape Verde because points bet right now, I've got Uruguay on $1.48 to win, a draw for 4.10, and they haven't even put a money value on Cape Verde. That is incredibly disrespectful. It would want to be a bug in my eyes for the website. Now, do we think Cape Verde can scrounge another point here? Their defense. Okay, you've gone straight out. I'm going to go with Uruguay, just because I mean I can't see them doing it again. I love the story of the goalkeeper though. Had a brilliant game against Spain, kept a clean sheet. Also, his follower numbers went from I think 50k to 2 million, just based on people watching this game.
It's amazing what a World Cup does, doesn't it, to some of these individual performers.
Yeah, Tim Payne, the GOAT, obviously, as well. Speaking of him, we get to New Zealand up against Egypt.
He didn't even play 90 minutes in the game. He was taken off. I think he had slight cramp. Yeah.
Too many followers, too many flicks of the finger, just swiping through all the people's messages. They have not lost a game at a World Cup in the last 2 World Cups in New Zealand. They drew all their games in 2010. They drew, obviously, their first game against Iran. Now they play Egypt. I'm leaning towards Egypt, but
they look pretty good at Egypt, and the thing is that, they're
doing it for Salah, I think. Argentina up against Austria. Now as we're doing this right now, Argentina have not played yet, but they should beat Austria. France up against Iraq. It'd be nice to see Graham Arnold get a result here, but I think France are one of the teams to beat.
Yeah.
Norway up against Senegal. Now Norway have been mentioned by many as a dark horse. Now, we know that dark horse mantra doesn't mean a lot when you are Norway. When you are Turkey. But with Norway attacking prowess against Senegal, who, the African nations are always very potent in front of the, I don't mind a draw here.
Yeah.
A high-scoring draw.
Because we haven't even seen... Have Norway played yet?
No, they haven't played.
Yeah.
You've got Jordan up against Algeria. Very interesting game, this one. I kind of lean towards Algeria, though. I don't really see Jordan as doing much. Although, on the betting market here, they actually are... Well, on the tipping app, they're actually 61% to win it. But I'm going to go with Algeria. What are you leaning towards?
Yeah, or a draw. I don't think Jordan... I just want to see Jordan play first before I kind of lean towards them.
Then we have Portugal and Uzbekistan. Now, even though we haven't seen the results of these few games at the moment, I feel like Portugal would beat Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. England up against Ghana. Now, I don't know. England kind of haven't really been mentioned a lot in my eyes as like a potential contender in my eyes.
No, it's just the fact is that they always seem to be, so everyone's just like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Against Ghana, like, I don't really think Ghana is like the golden generation this time around.
Nah.
I'll lean towards England. Croatia and Panama. Again, not really a lot to talk about Croatia. Now, obviously, they're in the group with England, so I haven't played as of us recording this, but I'm leaning towards Croatia. I think they should win that one against Panama. I'm assuming you're going the same there.
Yeah.
And then final game here of the second round of the group stage is Colombia up against the Dominican Republic of Congo. Now, you always, in my eyes, I always give the African nations a little bit of a chance in some of these games because they just, in the conditions of a lot like the America and the Mexico, those sort of games, you just give them a bit of a chance. But Colombia, I feel like they should be able to win that one.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. After the first group stage so far, like we've seen, a lot of opinions of yours changed?
Not really. Like Belgium never play well at a World Cup. Some of these minnow teams, you just expect a World Cup's not going to be straightforward for any team. So it's hard to know really after the first couple matchups and stuff. So yeah, nothing's really changed my eyes. If Australia can somehow scrounge a point, I'd love to see Australia beat the US. But if we can just scrounge a point, I'll be at least a bit satisfied to feel like we can do something.
Yeah. Now, where's the ceiling here for Australia? Where do you think they can get to?
I think around 32. I think if we can, I think just to get there at the moment, I think our team, yes, is pretty good, but it's a lot of youth, and it's not like we're not going to win the World Cup from here. We're not, but if we can get to the round of 32 and maybe, I don't know who, obviously don't know who we're going to play, but if we can kind of like make it upset or, a tough matchup for whoever we play for that in that week, in that game, maybe we could get to the round of 16, but I don't think we can get any further than that.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the same. Like, I think honestly, I know this is obviously a long way away, and a lot of things can happen, but I think the next World Cup in 2030, Historia Nkunda's only 20. He'll be up to 24. Hetherington, there are some great young talent in Australia. This could honestly be the next golden generation of players. We've got so much young talent in this team. It's like we said, 10 of the 11 didn't even play a World Cup before that game. And they performed outstandingly well against Turkey.
Yeah.
We do always overperform in World Cups. I think it's pretty safe to say, especially the last couple. Like, if we compare this team to the last World Cup, it's leaps and bounds better. And we made the round of 16, and we were close to sending Argentina into overtime.
Yeah.
Or extra time, sorry. So I honestly think, the ceiling probably for me is probably the round of 16.
Yeah.
But again, it also depends on who we play. Like, if we can get someone that sneaks through, if we get a Spain or something, obviously I can't see us beating them. But if we could get someone, as like a Turkey sort of team, someone like that, maybe we could, potentially get to the round of 16.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if we made our first ever quarterfinals. But I think that's probably a bridge too far for us.
Yeah.
But guys, that's pretty much all we have for you for this episode of the podcast. Episode 163, I think it was. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. The podcast episode was so long ago. But guys, if you did enjoy this episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, of course, make sure to like and subscribe over on YouTube. And if you are over on Spotify, of course, make sure to follow and leave us 5 stars because I asked super nicely. And I've been asking really nicely lately. So you guys should be, giving us some sort of support. I'm going to guilt you guys into doing it now. But guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next week.
See you later, guys.